Welcome to the deep dive. Something the source material we've got here calls an ongoing AI war. It really grabbed my attention. Forget tanks and trenches. This one's supposedly being fought with lines of code and massive data centers.
That's right. The text you shared lays out this compelling idea that a global scramble for the top spot in AI isn't some future possibility. It's happening right now. So for you, our goal in this deep dive is to really dig into this claim, figure out who the big players are according to the source, and understand what's at stake in this supposed conflict.
And when we talk about players, the source doesn't just mean your standard tech companies. It paints a picture for you of these, intelligence empires, think the US and China on a national level, but then you've got these giants like OpenAI, Google, Meta, ByteDance, and Tencent. It's a fascinating way to look at how global power might be shifting.
Absolutely. The source makes this striking comparison, kind of like the Cold War, suggesting a move from who controls nuclear power to who controls algorithmic power. The core argument is that in this new landscape, the entity that achieves artificial general intelligence, or AGI, first, essentially gains a decisive advantage.
Okay, so let's unpack this AGI idea for you a bit. The source defines it as a machine brain that can think, learn, strategize across domains. So it's not just, a super smart chatbot that answers your questions.
Right.
We're talking about something that could genuinely make decisions, adapt to new situations, almost like a human brain, but potentially on a much larger scale.
Precisely. And that's where the source says the real weight of this war lies.
Yeah.
It emphasizes that whoever controls these AGI systems, with their potential to learn in unpredictable ways and make complex choices, will have a significant ability to reshape how the world operates. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about influence and control, isn't it?
Yeah. This brings us to something the text quite dramatically terms the weaponization of language models. This part really made me sit up and take notice. The idea that these AI models many of you use every day could actually be seen as tools in this ongoing AI war.
What's fascinating here, as the source presents it to you, is that these language models aren't just neutral tools sitting there waiting to be used. The argument is that they actively decide what's true, what's false, what gets recommended to you, and even what gets silenced.
Wow.
According to the text, every bit of content they create has a political angle because it shapes how we understand the world around us.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If these incredibly powerful language models end up being controlled by just one government, one big corporation, or even some algorithm we don't fully understand, what does that mean for the information you see and the stories that become dominant? The source doesn't shy away from suggesting this is already happening in various powerful organizations.
That's a really crucial point for you to consider. The text brings up this idea of alignment, but then it asks a key question. Who or what are these AI systems actually being aligned to? Are they being aligned to serve you, the user?
Right.
Are they considering a wide range of cultural values? Or are they primarily serving the interests of shareholders, political groups, or certain dominant narratives? This immediately raises concerns about potential biases creeping in and, a lack of transparency in how these systems operate.
And this is where the concept of decentralized AI comes into play, which the source frames not as just a nice idea, but as an absolute necessity, almost like a defense protocol in this AI war. Why does the source see this decentralization as so critically important for you?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture of concentrated power, the source argues that if intelligence gets locked up in the hands of a few, it could lead to a monopoly on reality.
A monopoly on reality.
Yeah. And if you think about what's happened in other areas like media, finance, and social networks, the text suggests that these kinds of monopolies tend to stifle new ideas, dominate markets, and even rewrite history to fit their own agendas. The underlying worry is that this could even happen with how we think if AI becomes too centralized.
So decentralized AI, as the source lays it out for you, is about spreading that power out. It talks about open weights, which you can think of as making the underlying code of AI models publicly available so anyone can see it and work with it.
Yeah.
Then there's transparent data, meaning we can actually see what information these systems are learning from, which can help you understand potential biases. And at its core, it's about an intelligence that's guided by code and a community of users, rather than solely by political or corporate interests.
Exactly.
And one that can learn from a much wider variety of human experiences and cultures.
Exactly. And that's the context in which the source introduces X365.Ai to you, not as another competitor trying to, win this AI race, but as an attempt to build this kind of immune system. The idea of a shared intelligence, fueled by a network of users in a specific token, is presented as a way to push back against this trend of centralization.
It's a really interesting approach for you to consider. Instead of going head-to-head with the major AI players, their strategy seems to be to build an alternative, a more distributed form of intelligence. The source mentions users interacting with the X365.Ai system through things like the Academy, quantum mining, and referrals. How do these actions from a user perspective like yours actually contribute to this decentralized vision?
What's fascinating here is how the source frames these user activities for you as actually contributing to the training and the distribution of power within this network. Every interaction, every new user who joins is seen as strengthening this neural mass, an intelligence that isn't owned by one central authority, but by the collective of individuals like you who are participating. Think of it almost like a collective brain where each user helps it learn and, in return, gets to benefit from its capabilities.
And the long-term goal, according to the source, is quite ambitious for you and for everyone. A self-improving, crowd-owned intelligence that ultimately belongs to humanity as a whole. It's a powerful idea of AI development that really emphasizes shared ownership and benefits for everyone.
This raises a really important question for you to think about as we move further into this AI era. The source concludes by wondering whether the future will be primarily shaped by incredible coding skills or by who controls the fundamental resources, things like access to powerful computers, the data used to train AI, and even the very rails of intelligence themselves.
The infrastructure.
Yeah, meaning the basic infrastructure and rules that govern AI.
It definitely gives you a lot to consider. This deep dive into the source material paints a picture for you of a high-stakes global competition that's already happening, with AGI being the ultimate prize. The text really highlights the power that language models hold and the potential dangers if that power becomes too concentrated, which is why it argues for decentralized AI as a really crucial defense.
And it really underscores for you the idea that how we choose to develop and govern artificial intelligence will have some pretty serious consequences for the future world order. The emergence of projects like X365.Ai, which are aiming for an intelligence that's owned and distributed by its users, offers a different story than just the big corporations and nation-states calling all the shots in this space.
So as the source powerfully concludes, this isn't just about new technology for you, it's about a strategic landscape.
Yeah.
And understanding how it all works, being aware of these underlying currents is really important for you. The final thought the source offers is a powerful one. Intelligence must not be owned, it must be shared.
A powerful idea for you to really think about. Consider what role you might play in how this future unfolds.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.